Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Debut Network Show, episode 6. That is right. We're at episode 6, and today we got a big mega topic show. Two topics that kind of, relate to each other. We got the Epstein files to go over today, as Pam Bondi has released the Epstein list. Supposedly the full list, which I don't even think is the full list, in my opinion, because the government's been lying to us for several years. But yeah, we're covering that. We also get to cover the Pam Bondi versus Thomas Massie thing of Thomas Massie questioning Pam Bondi. But before we get into the topics, let's catch up with the panel, starting with Digny. Digny, how have you been?
Oh, I've been well personally, but I have not been well physically. I'm I'm a bit ill, folks, but it's great to be here. Thankfully, I can still speak. Thankfully, I can still convey my perspective, and I'm very grateful to be here. There's a lot to talk about with the present situation. We'll get into it, but for now, we're just gonna, you know, introduce everyone and catch up. I've been doing very well personally, but I'm not feeling very well physically.
Fair enough. What about you, Torin? How's life been for you since we last had a good talk?
Not bad. I worked earlier today.
Nice. What about you, Booty Warrior? Which I know Booty Warrior was excited about today's topics with the Epstein list and all that. So, Booty Warrior, how have you been and how excited are you about today's topic?
How have I been? I met a woman today,
Based.
and about the topics. Oh, and I also got my Steam Deck, so that's good. But as for topics, I'm very excited and I'm ready to get rolling and get into this shit. You know,
Me
it,
too.
it's it,
I'm really excited to get rolling into shit too. Make sure you guys hit the like button as we're covering this, and let's get right into it. So the clip we're going to be reacting to is a 7-minute clip. We'll do 30 second like we normally do, but it's Thomas Massie questioning Pam Bondi on the Epstein files and how transparent she really is on it. Let's be honest. Pam Bondi has not been transparent. She keeps flip-flopping. She said the Epstein files were on her desk, and then the next day said they didn't even exist and just kept on hiding it, kept lying under oath. She should be in jail. She should have been fired a long time ago. But for some reason, Trump keeps her around because he knows she'll do anything he says, and he knows she'll be loyal no matter what because she's a puppet.
I'll tell you this, folks, right? There are 6 million files within the Epstein files, right? That must be a pretty big desk.
I know, it must be a big, huge desk because there's like millions of files to get. It was on the desk. It must be on big, huge desk, or it might have just been on a hard drive on the computer or something because there's so many files and so many people. That's why I don't even believe the list is accurate because there should be more. I feel like there's more people, especially people that were around in the 90s and the 80s. Like a lot of them are on it too. Like I know Michael
Exactly.
Jackson's on it, LeBron James is on all that. Like all these people need to also, the ones that are alive, they need to be put behind bars. And like Thomas Massie said, we won't know if it's successful until these people are put behind bars.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen fundamentally because of the fact that Jeffrey Epstein had a finger on the pulse of Western civilization, from the political realm to the pop culture realm. I mean, even when he supposedly offed himself, which no one believes, the logo of Nickelodeon looked like his island. Okay?
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't make this up. This is like something that you would write down
Isn't it
as a
almost past the
story that no
statute of
one would believe.
limitations now too?
It's been past the statute of limitations. They missed 3 deadlines. And that's why Thomas Massie wants her fired because Pam Bondi has missed 3 deadlines.
I'll tell you this, guys, right? Before we play the first 30-second clip, and it's great to see everyone, if anyone is watching live, considering we're covering this topic, I doubt anyone is watching because
actually, no, there is. There's people in chat. IB the B says, hi, just stopping in for a few minutes to see what's happening. What's up? How you doing?
We appreciate all the fine folks and fellow creators watching. I'll tell you what will happen, folks. It's the same with all these scandals. Everything will be open, honest, and transparent when everyone involved is dead.
Because there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it once they're dead.
Exactly. What are you going to do? Imprison a corpse?
No, imprison the soul.
Please, Triton, play the first 30 seconds.
All right, I'll go ahead and play the first 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known.
All right, so my take on that is that's honestly scummy that the DOJ. See, the DOJ is going to doesn't want to release the names of the perpetrator, but they're going to release the names of the victims that don't want to be involved with it because they'll be endangering their lives if their names are out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Triton. Right. It's the twisted nature of things. The victims should face transparency, but the perpetrators should not. And it's very interesting that during this whole situation, that the person beneath Thomas Massie, a lady called Hagman or however you pronounce her last name, was the very same lady Trump elevated to depose Liz Cheney, right? That lady with the big glasses with the massive eyes. You see her right there?
Yep.
She is supposed to be a Trump loyalist through and through, and even she knows that there's something fishy going on here, right?
Yeah, there's something fishy going on, and even she can't even say, oh yeah, this is cool, because guess what? There's a lot of stuff fishy going on, and she can't even say that, oh yeah, there's no Epstein list here. It's like, come on, there's a lot of fishy stuff going on. Trump said he was going to release the list, and then said that the list didn't even exist, but yet there's 3 million files.
Yet we need to consider, guys, that this administration bit off more than it can chew. It's easy to say something. It's very difficult to carry it out, especially when you've read the damn thing. It's like saying, oh, buy my book, buy my book. People then buy your book. They read your book and realize not only is it crap, but it's also obscene. And I think that's a similar situation that the Trump administration faced. It didn't bargain on the fact that this would incriminate everyone, universally everyone.
Republicans,
Right?
Democrats, centrists, libertarians. It incriminates everyone because all of them were all involved with it. All the groups were involved with the Epstein files. They were all involved in trafficking American girls.
It involves every
girls. They were involved in a sex trafficking ring. It involves all groups. Like people say it's the Jews. It involves all these religions. It involves all these people, all the billionaires, anyone that has high power, and involves.
It involves everyone who is politically and socially acceptable. Do you know supposedly, you know the one group in modern history that isn't politically or socially acceptable? Fascism.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd that no one in the files is an outright fascist.
I know, isn't it weird that none of the fascists are in the files, but yet everyone that's socially acceptable is?
Exactly, because fascism, right, and various forms of fascism were wiped out of the public discourse in the West, at least, during the, of course, 40s and 50s, 60s, and 70s. A lot of people don't realize that Spain and Portugal were fascist states until the mid 70s. But you get my point. These people with these ideas haven't been in a position of power for, at this point, half a century. So, no fascists, no people truly on the far right are implicated in these documents, because people truly on the far right haven't been in a position of power to do such
to
egregious
do something
things.
like that.
Hmm.
So it's like you can't sit there and say that the far right are the problem when it's mainly the moderate right. Because you know how the moderate right says that, oh, the far right's a problem, it makes the right wing look bad. But it's like you guys are literally the ones on the list with everyone else.
Yeah, you let a 90s Democrat take over your party because he had a funny hair.
Yeah, because he had a funny orange hair.
But please, let's play the next 30-second
Oh yeah,
clip.
before
Then
I
we can
do,
get...
does Torin or Getler want to give their perspective on the first 30 seconds?
I will. My perspective is that when it when like when they try to implicate Thomas Massey, right, and the fact that even the person didn't know anything about what was going on and was pissed off at the Trump administration, it goes to show that they're incompetent and they need to, stop peddling this bullshit and just release everything and its brother, unredacted, unless it's the victims,
But instead, they're doing the opposite. They're releasing names of the victims, but they're not. But they're redacting the perpetrators.
Yeah.
Make it.
Yes, in the same way that you would hide the
Hold on,
fact
Torin was trying
someone
to
did.
say something. What was it, Torin?
I was just gonna say, make it make sense.
Well, it makes perfect sense. Everyone who is redacted has the will and the means to completely annihilate the existing system. That's why their names are redacted. Makes perfect sense. None of these victims can fundamentally undermine the structure of the United States. Whereas those redacted, those, heading the cover up, could cause 1,000 9/11s in a single year. That powerful people are hidden because if they're not, if they get exposed, those powerful people will seek to rain fire on every American who tried to expose them. And I mean that quite literally. Do you know what happened when Emperor Nero got exposed for corruption in the Roman Empire? He burned his capital city to the ground and played a flute while doing it. 500,000 people dead.
Yep, that's
The
why it's
kind of
so
people we're
hard. That's
dealing
why
with.
that's why it's so hard to expose the corruption, because they will give you consequences for exposing their bad faith actions. You literally,
Exactly.
the good person exposing it, the person that's trying to get transparency out, literally gets consequences for that. And it's been like that since history began, because corruption has
Exactly.
been on this planet for a while now.
Yeah, very, very long time, folks. We have to consider the fact that it's might that makes right, whether we like to admit it or not. And, Thomas Massey, Ro Khanna, and other individuals who have tried to expose this have painted targets on their back that will never be washed away. They'll
Yep.
never be washed away. The most effective people will always be silenced. It reinforces a point that I saw. I saw it on Piers Morgan's show, and I hate Piers Morgan with a passion.
Me
But there was
too.
this comedian that was talking to Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's former lawyer, who made a great point. All powerful people are compromised because it's the only way they become powerful within the existing system. None of us are compromised because none of us are powerful enough to make a difference in the grand scheme of things. Look at Charlie Kirk. He was powerful in a sense. Look what happened to him. officially, look what happened to him.
Mhm.
Who knows? The same thing might happen to Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna and
And
anyone
that's the
else.
thing.
who calls
And
them
they're already trying to make sure Thomas Massie loses to Woke Eddie in the Kentucky congressional district elections.
I
Because
don't think that'll happen. I think Thomas
I don't think it'll
Massie.
happen either, but apparently they've been spending a lot of money and giving Eddie a lot of money to defeat Thomas Massie. So if Thomas Massie wins against Eddie, you know they'll try to take him out because they wasted all that money.
Oh yeah, but we also need to consider, folks, that people get what they vote for, and if people want to vote for a candidate who honestly doesn't want these files released, then that's the choice of those people, whether you like it or not.
And I really hope Kentucky votes for the files to be released and actually votes Thomas Massie in, so Thomas Massie can continue to press the DOJ for the next how many years to get the files released, so that America gets full transparency, and then he can move on to getting all these other things fixed, like aid to Israel and all that. But first, we definitely need the Epstein thing done, and I'm gonna go ahead and play it in the next 30 seconds.
Sure. I'll make my point a
And
little
we know
later.
you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, right?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Please mute.
Sorry.
The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general.
He just unredacted them right in front of everybody.
Yes, and it just goes to show, are all of them retractable, or was it just that one? But I'll just make a point that I was going to make before the clip, right? I don't have faith in the people of Kentucky, Lord Triton, because they elected Mitch McConnell.
That is true. They did, and they keep electing him over and over. Hopefully, at least the people of Thomas Massie's district are smart and don't elect Woke Eddie. But if he gets elected, I guess just we kiss our country goodbye.
I'd rather AOC get elected in Kentucky than Mitch McConnell. Right? Make a Kamala Harris clone. She'd be better at this point.
Thomas Massie's rival Eddie is literally a Mitch McConnell clone, literally.
My goodness, where are they producing all of these turtles? But anything to add, Taran or Booty Warrior?
No, but someone in chat has something to add. It says, this is so bizarre that 1% of me thinks this is Bondi trying to show she's under duress, and the other 99% is like, what the fuck? She's trying to hide it, but it's just she can't hide it because she's under so much duress that she just has to defend Trump. Because here's what I think before we play. I feel like that Pam Bondi talked to Trump before this meeting, and Trump told her exactly what to do. Hey, play by this book, lie, keep saying that Thomas Massie votes no, keep saying that Thomas Massie's a traitor to the party, attack Thomas Massie for attacking me. I bet you Pam Bondi is playing by Trump's playbook 100,000%.
It could also be a third party.
And a third party too, but I feel like it's Trump as well because she's really close to Trump. In fact, later in this clip, she defends Trump so hard and makes it about Thomas Massie attacking Trump instead of just giving Epstein the Transparency Act on Epstein, giving answers on Epstein. She makes it about Thomas Massie having a personal vendetta.
I do not think a third party is involved, largely because of the fact that the things Pam Bondi references is the kind of things that Trump would also reference.
Yeah, that's another thing too. She literally says shit, and we'll point it out as she says them. She literally says shit word for word Trump has said in the past on
The
television.
Dow Jones is at 50,000. The Nasdaq is doing very well. I mean, the Trump mindset, folks, is not all encompassing to the point where you're literally repeating his talking points.
Yep, and that's why I think she was talked to beforehand, and Trump told her exactly what to say. Same with Kash Patel. I feel like he's telling these people what to say and do just so he isn't implicated and they look more bigger idiots. Because he knows the American people ain't going to buy this shit. Trump's smarter than that. So he's putting Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and all these people to look stupid and make him look good, to make it look like he's the one telling them to do their job. It's like, bro, you're telling them to hide the files. Stop trying to lie and deceive the people, Trump. And that's my problem with Trump. He's so fake. He used to be so real and so transparent. Now he's just like the people he used to call out. Fake, transparent, says one thing but does a complete another. Will say something 1 minute and then a few weeks later change his mind.
Ethan.
He has that luxury, though, because his opposition, right? You look at the Democrats, they're leaderless, they're rudderless, they don't have effective leadership. Their internal polling is of the mindset that the midterms are going to be a disaster for them. Their campaign is in debt. They haven't raised any funds. They have more debt than they have funds because of how much money they put into Camel Toe's campaign, right? That's why you have Obama and Clinton being like, we need border control. We need to end mass migration now, right? Because they've seen their internal polls and it's a catastrophe for them, right? I know the Trump administration is feckless. I know it's full of traitorous weasels. I know that.
The same with the
entire
other
country
administrations.
I also know that there are 5 Republican presidential candidates who could trounce the top 2 Democratic presidential candidates. 5 of them. The Republican Party's leadership, even if some of them are rhino cunts who lie through their asshole, are far more capable of running the United States than Camel Toe and Newscom, okay?
Yeah, because Newscom is just a complete joke. Newscom doesn't even know what he stands for. He flip-flops on every single issue, and is just a weasel, and he's spineless. He literally let Ben Shapiro mog him. That's how you know Newsom cannot be president, because he let Ben Shapiro, of all people, mog him.
So all the pollsters being like, "Oh, Democrats are going to win the midterms," right? How can a leaderless, rudderless party in debt win an election? The Republicans, yes, they're feckless. Trump is feckless, right? Large swaths of the administration are feckless. Not all of them, though. Some of them have either stayed under the radar or have shined during this administration.
Newsom is a puppet. There's videos of him taking orders over the phone. Yeah, there is videos of him taking orders over the phone. That's the fucked up part. That's why I call Newsom spineless, because he's spineless. Well, yeah, he's literally a puppet. He's a walking puppet.
You have to take orders over the phone if you don't have any original ideas, right?
The Republican Party are political puppets, so it checks out.
Well, the Republican Party, Torrin, has a war chest of $100 million US. The Democrats are in a few $1 million in debt. So I ask you again, how can a leaderless, rudderless party in debt win an election?
Honestly, I feel like independents probably have a better chance this year, though.
They do. They do, but the big problem, as we've seen a lot with third parties, is that they lack the impetus, right? You look at the UK, for example, and sorry for this tangent. You look at the UK, there are now six political parties vying for supremacy, right? The days of Labour versus Conservative, the days of the Uniparty are over, because the people, whether they're left-wing or right-wing, doesn't matter what their politics is, decided enough is enough. You are both utterly fucking feckless. We're going to support these other people who may be crazy cunts, who may believe in insane things, but at least they say what they mean and they mean what they say. Look at the Greens, right? The Greens, largely considered a joke for decades, are now, polling in the top 3. They believe some outrageous fucking policies, from saying no coal, no oil, no gas to legalize heroin. They're fucking crazy. But they say what they mean and they do what they say. So people on the left, especially, embrace that.
Yeah, but still, it's just, I don't know. I feel like for me, it's like you should just stay home and show both Democrats and Republicans we're tired of traitorous rats that are puppets. Because I feel like
By
that's
all
the only
means.
way. That's the only way to fix our country is if we stop voting for these puppets. Because that's the thing. We know these are all puppets. When, for one, they talk to the media. 2, they're taking orders. They have handlers. They take money from APAC and other weird foreign donors. Like, we know who's compromised and who's not, yet we still vote for the compromised people. Why is my thing? Because we've been, even before the Epstein files, the normal person knew these politicians were compromised. They just didn't care because it didn't affect them. But now that the Epstein files are coming out and it's affecting everybody, now everyone wants to pretend to care. When everyone knew that these people were compromised since the beginning.
For goodness sake, people, they gave Reagan Alzheimer's, right? They embroiled Bill Clinton in a sex scandal. They robbed Al Gore of the election. They killed JFK. They ousted Richard Nixon. They exhausted FDR to the point of death.
Yeah, nobody's talked about all that until now. Until now, it's too late. That's already happened.
The last president to truly stand up to the establishment and not suffer was President Eisenhower.
Yep.
Right? And that was way back. Man was, military man, very high up, warned, his final address to the nation was warning about the military-industrial complex. He knew that because he was a key part of it during the Second World War. Of course he knew about it. Did he face any consequences for his actions? No, because his 2-term presidency, he was a stable ship in a stormy sea. But all of the people who've come after him have been shafted one way or another, Democrat or Republican. I mean, you look what happened to Bush Senior, right? Man won a fucking war but lost the election. Why? Because he stood against what the true masters wanted. They didn't want a peaceful Middle East. They wanted Saddam Hussein to destroy Kuwait and cause chaos. So he lost the election to Bill Clinton.
Yep.
You want to succeed? Compromise yourself.
Mm-hmm. Compromise yourself and actually do what you're going to say, too.
Exactly. Do what you're going to say and end up dead. Don't do what you're going to say and you're going to be a powerful person. Right?
You'll be powerful, but you won't be yourself. But you won't be yourself. You'll be corrupted, compromised, and you'll be like everyone else. You'll basically be a robot.
Oh yes, yeah. You guys have heard of Lord of the Rings, right?
Yep.
Right. Imagine if Sauron had a nuclear weapon.
Oh, everyone would be fucked.
Exactly. That's the world we live in. It's the world we live in. You try and stop Sauron. You try and take the ring to Mount Doom, the Ring of Power. He will launch nuclear weapons and destroy the Shire. He'll destroy Rohan and Gondor, and Isengard, and Rivendell, and any other place that dares challenge him. That's the system we live in. Because ultimately, if there was a great awakening, guys, the authorities would press a red button and wipe out all life on Earth Fallout style. In fact, I think that's what happened in Fallout. So there you go.
Yep. All right, we could continue.
Sure, by all means.
Said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files. But he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured?
I want people to be very clear on this, right? All network shows try their best to be as accurate as possible. And we're very grateful for PBS News for this clip. Yet, when you want openness, honesty, and transparency, because we all want openness, honesty, and transparency, right?
Yeah, we do.
I'm telling you for a fact that once we get openness, honesty, and transparency, all systems collapse. All systems collapse. The only way you can have openness, honesty, and transparency is to essentially normalize the thing you want to be open, honest, and transparent about. It's as simple as that, right? Tax evasion is sort of normalized, right? Especially among the wealthy in society. It's called tax avoidance. Lex Wexner's reputation can survive being called a tax evader. It cannot survive being called a child diddler, okay?
No, it can't.
So that's why he was redacted. I admire Mr. Massey's courageous stand, but as I said before, the man's literally painting a target on his back. How do I know this? Look at everyone's faces. Everyone on screen, Taran, Booty, Triton, look at everyone's faces.
They all look freaked out. Like, what is this guy getting himself into? This guy's gonna not make it. Like, that's what they're thinking.
Yeah,
that's what the looks tell me.
In one way, shape, or form, you are seeing different visual interpretations of the third-party perspective of the consequences that this man, Mr. Massey and Mr. Connor and all the other people that have tried to expose this, they all know. It's an open secret at this point. The lady on the far left, the guy on the far right, the three people down there who are also on the committee, the guy hiding behind the board who may be a security guard for all I know. Their faces say it all.
Yep, they do. They say it all like that. Oh, it's an open secret, and you're just painting a target on your back.
Yeah, it's like here's
and that's the thing. Technically, we are kind of painting targets on our back because
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, Triton, because we're not in a position to bring about effective change. So
I mean, if I keep doing the March for America thing and I get in that position, then I probably would be pointing a target at my back, but not right now, no. But in the future, if I keep doing more marches, probably.
Well, look at Martin Luther King. I know he was an adulterer and a plagiarist and black and all that sort of stuff, but no one had a problem with him when he was doing sit-ins in the 50s, right? No one had a problem with Dr. King when he had the massive march on Washington. The intelligence services in America had a problem with Dr. King as soon as he came out and became sympathetic of the communists. That's when they wiped him out. That's when they shot him dead.
That's when they're like, okay, you got to go now.
Exactly. Because it's not what he espouses that is the problem. It's not even a problem if he's a powerful and influential person. The problem is, what is that potential going to be used for, right? That's why most powerful people are compromised whether they know it or not. Because although they have the potential to make a difference, as soon as that potential is made manifest, they're isolated, condemned, some of them are destroyed, some of them are just outright killed. There are different ways of getting to the same destination. Let's put it that way.
All right, let's finish this because Pam Bondi's about to respond to Massie in a few seconds.
Sure. I mean, this is a long topic. We can go through it all.
Oh yeah, no, you're definitely going through it all.
His name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document. Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaim.
What was that?
I said, God sounds like our chat sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Man, bitch, let Massie talk. God damn. He's calling out on your lies. Let him talk, you stupid bitch.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that?
Here's
in general, not later than 30 days after the date of indictment, this act the Attorney General shall subject to subsection B, make publicly available in a searchable and downloadable format of all unclassified records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in the possession of the Department of Justice. Hold on, go back to it. Department of Justice, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation and United States Attorney offices that relate to Jeffrey Epstein, including all investigations, prosecutions, or congressional matters. Maxwell, which I don't know how to say that, Galician Maxwell, flight logs or travel records, including but not limited to manifestos and certainly pilot records and custom immigration. Basically, she's supposed to release the files. Basically,
well, let's put it this way, Triton. As someone who studied law for 6 years, I can tell you keywords are crucial, right? And the key word there is possession.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Where did they all go? We no longer possess them. Where did they go? Oh, a flood took them. A hurricane took them. Oh,
the dog ate them.
Someone hacked our servers and destroyed everything. Oops. Oops. Oh dear. Oh no.
Oh no, the files are gone. My dog ate the Epstein files. Sorry guys, I don't have them anymore.
Well, I use that as an example. That hasn't happened in this case. I'm amazed it hasn't happened in this case, right?
I know, but it's basically what they tried to do, though, because Trump tried to deny existence. Like, oh, the Epstein files don't exist. It's a Democrat hoax.
Right? If Trump was really serious about saying the Epstein files didn't exist, he would be offing everyone talking about it. Well, when I say offing, I mean getting rid of people of any kind of influence talking about it, if he was deadly serious. A lot of what Trump says, right? We talk about Biden with his mental decline. I think a lot of what Trump says, he just says without any thinking.
Yeah, I've always said he has diarrhea of the mouth.
Right? It's like, oh, it's useful for me, so I'll talk about it, right? The man has literally built a bubble around himself. Truth Social embodies that. Have you seen his Truth Social posts? They read like left-wing talking points, right?
No, they have been, literally. That's why I've called the Republican Party no better than the Democrat Party, because a lot of them are using talking points now. Now that Trump's using them, a lot of
Democrat.
Yeah, but it's weird because it's like everyone. It seems like the whole Republican Party is now becoming '90s Democrats. Literally,
because they're all MAGA. That's all MAGA ever was. It was Bill Clinton Democrat talking points. But because the zeitgeist has moved so far left in 3 decades, Bill Clinton policies is somehow Republican.
even though they've been Democrat for literal years at this point.
I mean, you look, I always bring up Ronald Reagan, right? His 2 biggest mistakes was the amnesty, which turned California blue indefinitely, the immigration amnesty, and the auto machine gun ban. His administration made it so that American citizens could not possess automatic rifles, like full automatic rifles. Those were his 2 biggest mistakes, right? Beyond that, it was a stellar administration, especially by modern standards. Okay? What was the legacy of that? His opponents gave him Alzheimer's and paved the way for rhinos.
Basically, you're not wrong.
You look at, I think it was in 1992, right? When Bush was running for election against Clinton. Ronald Reagan was one of the speakers, and, he was getting on a bit. It wasn't public about his Alzheimer's at that point, but, looking back, you could tell he was starting to get it. And you see all the people there at the Republican National Convention with hindsight of today, rhino, all of them fucking rhinos. This is 1992. Very similar people who are still around to this day. But please play the clip. Please.
It's a joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
and we invited you
Gentlemen.
in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
on
you to
to
watch
the
the video.
matter.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules
There
here.
is no credible.
Wait, why is it doing this? Hold on. There we go.
Any victim.
Also, I like how she's saying, this guy has Trump derangement syndrome. All he's done is asked about the Epstein files and said that he is against foreign aid to Israel. Like, he hasn't said he hated Trump. Trump's the one that said that Thomas Massie hated him. In fact, didn't Thomas Massie endorse Trump in 2024? I'm pretty sure he did.
Well, Mavericks don't like Mavericks, Triton. It's as simple as that. Right? Mavericks don't like Mavericks in every profession, especially in politics. You know what's worse for a guy who speaks off the cuff? Going up against another guy who speaks off the cuff. And you're seeing it right here between Pam Bondi and Thomas Massie. They're both just speaking their minds. I mean, Pam Bondi's mind is literally synced to Donald Trump's, but you get my point.
She's
right?
still
It's the
just
same
speaking her
talking
mind
point.
just for Trump. But see, she's not being genuine here. She's just doing it for Trump so she could keep her job.
Yes, but Pam Bondi's mindset won in 2016, 2020, and 2024. The 2020 election was rigged, folks. When your political opposition create a pandemic that kills millions of people to win an election, can you afford the luxury of principle? I ask that as a question, not as a statement.
Nope.
Exactly. So no wonder this administration is feckless and unprincipled, because it knows for a fact that it is stuck between a rock and a hard place. This lady knows that she has one of 2 choices. Piss off people who can't make a difference, or piss off people who can. And she is choosing to piss off people who can't make a difference. Not just for her own survival, but for the survival of the administration. So what if the Republicans lose 5 million votes in the midterms and in 2028? It's not as if any of them are going to vote for Camel Toe and Newscom or the demon rats, the Republican Party can lose 5 million voters and still win.
Yeah, because the Democrat Party's so fallen off of the face of the earth, they literally have Newscom and Camel Toe, and that's all they got.
Yeah. That's only one. Those are the only ones of substance that they have got, right? Everyone else doesn't have the
I mean,
political capital.
they do got Vermin Supreme, but he's kind of goofball.
Yeah, he's a lunatic, okay? He's a principled lunatic. That's probably why they call him a lunatic. But my point is, guys, right, all the other candidates don't have the political capital to take control of the Democrat Party and lead the way as a presidential candidate, okay? Yeah, you can only have a good government if you have a good opposition. If you don't have a good opposition, you can't have a good government. And you're seeing the result of it. Look at the visuals here, right? Because a lot of people can say things through their faces. So I want all of you guys on the panel to look at this picture. Look at Pam Bondi. Look at the brown lady. Look at the white lady. Look at the guy. I know the StreamYard ducky is in his way, but look at even his facial expression. You can tell. I can tell from this picture that there is a intelligence agent there, because look at that hand. Look at those hands on the far left. That's a signal, folks. And that is a signal. No, far left.
Right here?
Left. That is an intelligence signal. And I think it's an intelligence signal of pressure, as in put pressure on someone. So it's not to Pam Bondi because she can't see the signal. It's to someone on the committee. And who is putting pressure on Pam Bondi? Thomas Massie. Right? Let me give you another example before we play the rest of this clip. All the intelligence services in the United States were against invading Afghanistan and Iraq. All of them, the FBI, the CIA, all the intelligence agencies. The politicians made that decision, or their handlers, or their masters. It wasn't the intelligence services. So for all we know, elements within the intelligence services are the ones who are trying to get this out there. Not the people we know, but the people behind the scenes. People in the FBI and the CIA who have been there for 30, 40 years, who know how to play the game. I mean, there's no other explanation for why all of these files have come out. Someone's gone rogue. A lot of people have gone rogue in order for us to get this far. Who could they be? Prominent people in the intelligence services. It's the only logical explanation.
Yep, someone went rogue and decided to just release everything, and it feels like I don't even think the intelligence agency really likes the Trump administration or even Israel either.
No, the intelligence services don't like any administration. They don't like politics. They don't like the concept of politics because it gets in the way of their operations.
But that's the thing. The CIA though is definitely corrupted and under Israeli intelligence.
I don't think anyone's arguing against that, but I think the intelligence services, especially the CIA, realized that these administrations are feckless. And we're sick and tired of just waiting for them to be released, right? Because most intelligence services, if they don't like a government, they'll just stonewall it for 4 to 8 years and wait for the next administration. I don't think the CIA especially has the patience for that anymore. And I think it's because most of the people who have gone rogue are old-timers who have been doing this for 30, 40 years, who are due to retire in the next 10 years, and they're being like, yeah, fuck it, just release all this stuff. Release as much as we can get away with.
Let's release all, because we're gonna die. Because they're already retiring, so they got nothing to lose for it.
Yeah, and there's nothing more dangerous than a retired intelligence operative, folks. I mean, fear an old man in a young man's game.
All right, let's play the rest of the clip. Unless
Go
Tor
ahead.
and Woody Warrior got stuff to say on it.
Go ahead.
All right, let's do it.
Who comes forward. Of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because this
time when
is
you don't-
bigger than
when you can't-
Watergate.
when I don't answer a question the
This
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
Now,
where the
I want to know at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not. And it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2.
What does this have to do with the Epstein files? What is this deflection? I watched the clip and I was like, what is this? What is this deflection? What is this deflection? He voted against that. What does this have to do with the Epstein files?
This is a common tactic that Republicans employ. They'll try and move the goalpost to something else to try and make people angry about something else, so they're not angry about the topic they're talking about.
Yeah, and that's what she's doing. She's exactly doing that. She's trying to get people to be angry about something that's irrelevant. This is irrelevant. I don't care about fake AI. I don't care about.
I'd smash her in the face.
Look,
someone
man,
asked that in the comments.
I know, Torrin, you will literally fuck anything with a pulse, but it's common ICD tactics.
I didn't mean like that.
It's isolate, condemn, and destroy, right? That's the kind of tactics that we are seeing here. But let's face it, folks, this lady is not professional in the slightest, okay? She fucked her way to the top.
And would you smash Pam Bondi? Hell no.
I would with a hammer.
I would, yeah, I would with a hammer. I would
be totally honest. I gotta be totally honest. If it wasn't for meeting a girl today, I would totally do her. Just because, you know.
She is. Woody Warrior isn't in the Epstein files, folks.
No. I'm not saying because of politics or anything like that. I just do her because she's a woman.
To talk about a swing and a miss, I was making an age-related joke. How old was the woman you met, Booty Warrior?
She's my age.
I don't know what that age is. That could be 12 for all I know.
30s.
30. Well, fuck her before she dries up. It just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, that this whole situation is a circus, right? You're not going to get transparency from committee meetings. This is typical late Republic, early Empire stuff, right? Any Star Wars fans here?
Yep.
Right? It wasn't the first film, but the first prequel film, right? The Phantom Menace. They go to Coruscant after, the pod race. They go to the Senate and they talk about, oh, Naboo's been invaded by these weird clanker alien people. And it's like, that's not true. We need a committee meeting to talk about it. And the Queen's like, no. I'm not going to go to a committee meeting while my planet is facing occupation and my people are being massacred. So what does she do? She listens to Jar Jar talking about how Gungans fight, and she's like, we're going back to Naboo, and we're going to get the Gungans to fight for us. And they liberate the planet that way. It's the same thing here.
Yep.
These people will not bring about your salvation. The only people who will bring about your salvation is yourself, your own people. Yet, in this day and age, you need to realize if you decide to do that, these people will nuke cities to stop you. Are you prepared to take that risk? Do you have a countermeasure to stop them firing those nuclear weapons? Because if you don't, then you can't do that. You can't go back to...
And another question is, are you willing to make the sacrifice? Because a lot of people that try do not make it.
Yeah, in fact, almost everyone who tries does not make it. Those who have done the best in trying to oppose this tyranny, what was the end result? Massive wars, millions of people dying in battle, and is still lost.
Okay, I want to clear something up real fast. I would not actually hit her with a hammer.
No, obviously not. Obviously not. I mean, everyone.
Torrent,
like
I
if
just
people,
told you.
If people think we're serious about that, then they're literally in the 3rd grade. Like, come on.
Look, guys, I already told you, right? The 3 people on the panel above me would fuck anything with the pulse. That's what they mean by smash.
That's not okay. I said I would not smash her, so you can't loop me into it. I said no.
Right. My goodness. I'm giving you guys a rope, not a noose, okay? We need to understand that in this situation, I can boil down this entire clip in 5 seconds. A clown show.
But for context sake, we're reacting to it.
Well, yeah, let me tell you of a country that doesn't have this problem. China. Country that doesn't have this problem. North Korea. Russians don't have this problem. Why do you think that is?
It's because the government's stable and the government don't play around. Like if someone breaks the law and if someone's corruptive, they just get rid of them. They don't try, and not only that, but they don't pretend to be morally good. They show the whole world, hey, this is what we do. We will literally kill you. We don't give a fuck about free speech. They're honest. That's why they survive, because they're honest. They put the iron fist there and said, listen, this is what we are. You either like it or you don't.
They make it very clear. North Korea, fantastic example, right? You fall asleep during a meeting, you're getting executed with an anti-aircraft gun.
Oh, I've seen a lot. I've seen the video of Kim Jong-un literally pointing out that soldier, saying, look, he's sleeping. And then the soldier gets taken out, probably executed.
Yes, right. The only reason secrets exist is because if they get revealed, there is accountability, right? There's no accountability here. So release everything. No one's going to be arrested. No one's going to be convicted. Under that premise, there's no need for secrets. Just be honest. Be honest with people. What are the people going to do about it? Rise up? Ha ha ha, nuclear weapon, city gone. Now what are you going to do? And if you think these people aren't willing to do that, you're fucking naive. So what can you do?
Pam Bondi was performing for an audience of one. Trump having Pam Bondi humiliate herself for him is based.
Yeah,
no, that's exactly what she's doing. She's humiliating herself for Trump because she doesn't want to lose her job. Because if she does it, she loses her job. Trump was already pissed at her at the beginning of the year, and she had to straighten up. Because Trump will literally just let you go if you go against him. But if you're loyal and you suck him off, he will keep you around as long as he can. That's why he hasn't got rid of Kash Patel, because Kash Patel, even though he's a complete fuck up, Kash Patel's never done Trump wrong personally. Trump only cares about himself. If you don't do Trump wrong, Trump will literally defend you and don't care what you do. But once you do Trump wrong, that's when Trump will come after you.
And that's not exactly a moral person, is it? Okay? Folks, when the guy's name is literally Cash, you can tell your administration is pro-Israel, okay? His name's Cash. It would be like, oh, here's the new FBI director. Oh, what's his name? Dollar.
Literally dollar. Literally Cash. Cash Patel. Dollar Patel.
But, you can play the rest of this clip if you want, Triton. We can talk over it if we need to.
2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
You didn't answer the question.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering.
The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General is allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
All right, I have unanimous consent request.
She needs to answer the question, dude.
Gentleman is recognized for a UC.
All right, this is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at them.
Without objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times that the DOJ released nude photos and identifiable pictures of the victims. I'm submitting a letter from AG Bondi to Kash Patel, imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you, because they're still redacting files that you.
Chairman, are we going to recess for votes?
Yes, we are.
I'm submitting for unanimous consent a document of 17 individuals who've resigned because of the Epstein files.
Without objection.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate.
All right, that's the end of the clip right there. And honestly, Pam Bondi couldn't even answer a question. That's how bad this is. She couldn't even answer a fucking question, y'all.
It's not that she couldn't answer it. She just didn't want to answer it.
Yeah, she didn't want to answer it because Trump wouldn't let her answer. She doesn't know what Trump would say. So she's like, oh, I don't want to answer because I don't want to piss off my boss.
Wow. That sounds like life, doesn't it?
Yep.
Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, and I say this for all people everywhere, you get what you vote for, right? And if the choice is between bad and worse, people are going to talk or vote rather for the bad instead of the worse.
But you can't complain when you get the bad because you're the one that voted for the bad.
Exactly, right? I know exactly what would have happened if we had President Kamala Harris, right? No Epstein files, no redactions, no lists, no committee meetings, all right? We'd have a sassy pseudo-black president who would go dancing in schools.
I mean, we would have had that under Trump too, of no Epstein files if it wasn't for Thomas Massie.
You say that, Triton, right? You say that. However, if they didn't get released, they would be conjured up from thin air and be released. Because nature abhors a vacuum. In all things, nature abhors a vacuum. So if the Trump administration was like, oh, we're going to release the files, and then say, we're not going to release the files, do you know what would have happened? Within 12 months, an entirely fabricated set of documents would have been made and released. For all we know, that's probably what's happened. If you think about it, right? Why did they delay for so many months? Maybe it's because they were busy fabricating the evidence. And this whole thing is just a circus act, a performance.
And that's the thing too. Which here's the Epstein files. This is what segues to our second topic, which just has to do with the same thing. But this is the actual list that Pam Bondi has released, and it's kind of weird because Pam Bondi's name's on it, Thomas Massie's name's on it. Like there's a lot of people's names on it that shouldn't be on it, and Pam Bondi's not explaining why these people are on it, if they're co-conspirators. There's no labels, there's no anything.
We'll go to the next page. There are two pages showcased. There we go. Right? It's quite simple. You're all involved in this. Because if
in fact, look at Mark Zuckerberg, all that, like they're all on it.
Yeah.
It's weird that Margie Taylor Greene's on it too. There's a lot of it seems like anyone, even the people that spoke out against it, they just put them in the files.
It's fabricated then, folks. Here you go. Here's the ultimate conspiracy theory. The Epstein files have been fabricated to damage everyone's reputation. And the stuff that is redacted, they haven't figured out how to word it yet to damage everyone else. There are 6 million documents. 3 million released, some of those have been redacted. I'm telling you this. By the time public support is like, release all the files, be transparent, showcase everything. By the time that happens, maybe in 2027, 2028, the entire thing will be fabricated to implicate everyone. You're all diddlers, you're all enablers, you're all bad people. And then nothing will happen.
Look, Liddy Ted, another guy that was questioning Pam Bondi's on there. They're literally just putting random names of people that were questioning Pam Bondi on it just to implicate them. Because there's no evidence that Ted, Wilcana, Massie, or any of these people had contacts with Epstein. In fact, if they did, why would they be the ones wanting the files to be released? Look, she even put Tell on here. Like, they're just putting random names on here to confuse the people, literally.
The entire document is a fabrication. Have we not trying to make people that confused. Possibility?
Yeah, well, the whole documentation is fabricated. Pam Bondi did fabricate this whole thing. That's why that's why she needs to be fired, because for one, she lied under oath. Two, she's literally conducting and messing with legal documents and putting names of innocent people in the Epstein files. She needs to be fired. In fact, I'm going to do a poll and see if the audience agrees that she should be fired, because I think this bitch should have been fired a long time ago.
I agree. Pam Bondi should be fired, and she will be replaced with someone worse, because that's how the system operates.
Yeah, but they didn't put someone actually like waiting. I'm so tired of these people coming in and doing shit at their jobs. Like, these people our government needs to be held accountable, and we need to actually get these people out of office. Like, there needs to be a way where we can hold the president accountable, especially when they're not doing what the people want.
Exactly, Triton. Yet that kind of reform, and I can hear myself. That's probably Triton, because he's...
Are you sure? I don't know. It's not me.
Well, it happened as soon as you said poll.
Yeah.
Can you hear yourself now?
Jim's muted.
Can you hear yourself now?
I'm going to speak again, and no, I don't.
I do
probably Jim. That
not really.
All right. Anyways, I mean, my microphone's right here, but anyways, back on topic.
It's very odd. I'll tell you this, Triton. Right? 1776 wouldn't be possible in 2026.
No, it would not. It would not.
Okay. So the United States isn't what it started off as. Therefore, it's not the same country. It's not run by the same people, right?
It's not run by the same values either.
It's not. Of course it's not. And this is what happened. This is the tyranny of small changes. This is what happens to every great nation. They start off with the noblest of intentions and inevitably get destroyed, okay? If the British Empire had nuclear weapons in 1776, your revolution would have died screaming. Okay? So I say to people, and this is not a black pill talking point, this is the reality of the situation. How can you hold a government to account that can wipe out the nation in under an hour?
I know it really is hard to hold a country accountable when the government can literally wipe us out under an hour, literally, because they have the technology. Yeah. It's really hard to hold the government accountable.
They've had the technology since the 1950s. And when did the military-industrial complex really manifest itself? The 1950s.
Mm-hmm. Ever since the 1950s, the government has just gotten way too powerful to the point where we can't control them and they control us. Because this country was founded on the people having the power, but then it turned to the government having all the power and government having all the authority over time.
And what set that precedent? The Civil War, which was the last time the people tried to take back control of their destiny and they lost. Do you know what's the difference between the American Revolution and the American Civil War? It's very simple. In the American Revolution, the rebels won. In the American Civil War, the rebels lost. Everything else, exactly the same. It was fought for exactly the same reasons.
It's just the rebels ended up losing in the Civil War.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. If the files come out, obviously no one's gonna be arrested because the government has the authority. The people can cry all they want about how these people are not arrested, but it's up to the government to make those arrests, and the government's not gonna make those arrests. So honestly, it's like there's really no point of even. I mean, it's still good to call it out, but just no point in really trying to get it released when there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, yeah, it's good to know. I mean, it's good to know that you live in a corrupted government than to pretend like all these people are your friends, because that way, you can still adapt and know, hey, these people are not your friends, and you just, isolate yourself. But all it's going to do is just cause people to want to isolate themselves from the government and want to live in the woods and shit like that.
But Triton, I say all of these points knowing the end result of all of this, because this has happened before, not in the United States, mind you, but there was a country that doesn't exist anymore that went through almost exactly the same circumstances we are going through now. And that country was known as the Soviet Union. The Soviet people realized very early on that their institutions that they fought, bled, and died for in a revolution and in a civil war betrayed them. They couldn't resist it because they get massacred to a man, woman, and child, or they get starved to death. So what did they do? They bided their time, and over time, the resistance became passive, not active. And that passive resistance, they pretend to work. We pretend to work. They pretend to pay us. It's like those Reagan Soviet jokes, because it was symptomatic of a society that couldn't actively resist Soviet rule, because if they did, they'd get crushed, and they were crushed very forcefully. So the resistance became passive, and the entire system collapsed in on itself. The American people have to do the same thing.
We have to make sure that the system collapses on itself.
Yes.
And then take the system from it and make it to something that fits us, basically, and helps us. We basically gotta let the government destroy itself, then take it over.
Well, that's the idea, but you look at what happened to the Soviet Union, you look at the former Soviet states, most of them are jokes. Why? Because the people have learned that passive resistance is the only effective way to bring about change. But passive resistance is not constructive. It just lets everything fall to pieces. The American people are going to have to do the same thing. What's the result going to be? The end of the United States of America, the end of the land of the free and the home of the brave, the end to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, because they're all shields that protect the system.
In like 100 years, I bet you the United States is going to be like Russia, named something else.
Yeah, probably the American Federation. And you could get the new California Republic, straight out of Fallout, by the way. And you could get a few other, states, the new Texan Republic, the Florida super state or something. And it'll just be like the collapse of the Soviet Union. It looks invincible from the outside, but it's rotten from within. You think that's a black pill take?
No, I mean, I feel like
in
that's
the
an
late
honest take because that's the thing. As someone that's in the inside, it looks good the outside, but the inside's rotted. Like I live in America and I see the rottenness. I'm inside the rottenness, so I can tell you firsthand it's true. Same with Booty Warrior, Torn, and all the fellow Americans that live in America. We could tell you, yeah, it looks good on the outside, but the inside, it's shit. Economy's terrible. Job market's terrible. Like everything's just terrible right now.
I can tell you guys firsthand that most political and military commentators in the 1970s thought the Soviet Union was going to win the Cold War by the end of the century.
But
that didn't happen.
They ended up losing.
Do you know why it didn't happen? Because the Soviet Union looked very strong on the outside, but was very weak and brittle on the inside.
And they were falling to pieces. They're falling to pieces in the inside.
Yeah, and what was the Soviet population? The Soviet population was literally a melting pot. The Soviet Union was more diverse than even the United States. You had Russians, you had Ukrainians. Literally, look at a map of Russia and most of its neighbors, right? You look at the old Soviet Union, it had tons of racially and culturally diverse peoples. What kept them all together? An authority saying, step out of line and you will die. That's what kept them together. But as the system became feckless and as more and more people passively resisted it, it fell to pieces until it collapsed. And the same will apply to the United States, right? There will come a time, because this happened in the Soviet Union, the Red Army, right, the Soviet military was the last institution to fall. And they were told directly to stand down because they had standing orders, even without any politicians to lead them. They had standing orders to defend the Soviet state to the death. And they were on the verge of just massacring hundreds of thousands of people because by that time it was open rebellion, but they were told to stand down. Do you honestly think the American military would do the same thing under the same circumstances? Of course not. American troops would relish it, just like they relished gunning down those Iraqis and Afghanis, an whole number of people throughout the world. The Vietnamese, right? That's what we're going to have to deal with. And foreign countries, we can't do a damn thing to help you out. We'll just be looking after our own affairs. But you wanted the openness, you wanted the honesty, you wanted the transparency. Well, here it is. You don't have a United States anymore. You don't have a democracy anymore. You don't have a voting system anymore.
Nope.
You don't have freedom of speech anymore. Do you know why? Because the chaos, the death, and the destruction wrought by such an inevitable conflict will be used for centuries as justification for why people do not deserve freedom. Because people will destroy themselves if they have freedom. It's the classic Chinese argument. It's a classic North Korean argument. You give people freedom and they will destroy themselves. Well, look at the United States. Are they wrong?
Not really, because we're all destroying ourselves. But the same time too, it's like the only reason we're destroying ourselves is because the people and the government do not know how to get along, and the government's not transparent with us. If they're just transparent.
We also have people getting brainwashed constantly too.
Yeah, and that too, and then we have so much infighting going on too. And that's what really is making the freedom hard, is all the damn infighting.
Well, what was I going to say? I had a Biden blooper moment there, folks. Right? The only way you can have unity is through a single idea. That's not possible in the United States. How can you have unity when people have the freedom to disagree? This is why the Soviet Union peaked during wartime, because during wartime you don't have the luxury of disagreeing, right? You're told what to do and you do it. And if you die, well, you died for a greater cause. I tell you, if the Second World War hadn't have happened, the Soviet Union would have died way earlier than 1991. And that's the thing. Why can't America live in peace? Why does America always have to be on these wars? Because it's adopted a similar mindset, but from a capitalist perspective rather than a communist one. Because war is great for the economy. And what's great for the economy, if we keep the economy going, well, then our society will keep going too. Right? Hey, Torrin.
Yeah, what's
I
up?
farted in a jar and I sell it to you. That's capitalism.
Yep.
And you say, oh, that's sick. That doesn't happen. It does happen. People do it. Twitch streamers do it.
Oh, yeah. I already knew that.
Yeah, Twitch streamers do it. Also, Weebaboo
They
says
also sell you their dirty
Triton,
bathwater, too.
Someone in chat asked me, will I vote for Gavin Newcomb? No, I will not.
No, and that's why this administration is being very arrogant. I mean, it's not everyone in the administration, okay? It's the majority of people in the administration. But those who want power in the future have distanced themselves, right? Has anyone heard from Tulsi Gabbard in the past year?
Nope.
Of course not, because she's staying under the radar. She's just the director of national intelligence. She's responsible for coordinating with the intelligence services. For all we know, Triton, it's people like Tulsi Gabbard who are releasing all this information.
Mm-hmm. And she's staying under the radar, so she can't be tracked so easily.
Or you look at another example, and I know he's Mr. Red Flag, but you look at J.D. Vance, right? He's tried his best to distance himself from the situation. It's hard to do that when you're vice president. But you can
not only
tell.
that, but it's also hard. It's hard when your boss Peter Thiel's literally all over the Epstein files, and that's mainly why he won't say anything. Is because he doesn't want to piss off Peter Thiel. He's more afraid of Peter Thiel than Trump.
Look, who wouldn't be afraid of a gay Jewish billionaire? He's gay, Jewish, and a billionaire.
And he also invests in the Israeli drones program. He could literally spy on your house if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And do it legally.
Everyone who is feckless in the Republican administration has one thing in common. They're all supporting Marco Rubio for 2028. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, that's the thing. They're only doing that because Marco Rubio's the least one that's really spoke out against the Epstein files, and no one's really targeting him because he's stayed out of it for the most part. That's why a lot of people. But you know what's crazy? A lot of people are trying to say that Marco Rubio's going to run for J.D. Vance's vice presidency.
I don't see that working out, right? Okay? I don't have a short memory. Marco Rubio makes Ted Cruz look based.
Peter Thiel is gay, but there's no proof that he's Jewish. Well, he invests in Israel's drone strike programs.
All right.
I was responding to chat.
The guy's name is Thiel. It's a Jewish name.
Right? Isn't he also the guy that runs that persona thing that's ruining Discord?
I think that's a different person, but I can understand your mindset, Taran. From my perspective,
no. Peter Thiel is the guy that has ties to Discord. It is true. Yes,
he has ties to Discord, but he's not part of it. Okay,
he's just influencing it behind the scenes.
Yeah. He's not the CEO of the fucking company, who's another goddamn Jew.
It's like Ryan having ties to Ravencast, but he's not the CEO of Ravencast, but he still has ties to people behind the scenes and all that.
Exactly, right? My mentor, Ryan, he's not on any shows, right? But he helps me. He coordinates with me. He's got the experience that I don't have. and it helps coordinate the wider network. I let Triton run this show as he wants to, because, it's his show. But he's helping the network, and I am trying my best, along with everyone else here, to help Triton. That's the limit of Peter Thiel's connections to Discord in that perspective. And yes, folks, we are emulating how Jews operate in our network coordination because
that last name sounds familiar. That's why I was wondering, because
it's fine, Tarn. But the reason why we're emulating that structure is because it works. Look at the present American system. As much as we lament what's going on, folks, in a sick, twisted, deplorable way, it works. And it's not as if Republicans are going to lose to Camel Toe Harris or to Gavin Newsom. That's why. Do you guys hear about Obama and Hillary Clinton being like, "Oh, we need to control our borders. We need to stop mass migration"? I've heard on the grapevine the reason they've come out and said that is because Democrats have had their internal polling, and it looks like they're heading for disaster in the midterms because they're broke. They're flat out broke. They don't have leadership. The polls say they're going to do well. Well, pollsters always say the opposition's going to do well in the midterms. They have no money. They have no leadership. They have no core message. Let me tell you what Republicans have, right? As feckless and as useless as they are, they have leadership. You know who leads the Republican Party. They have the money. They have a $100 million war chest. And you know what their policies are, even if they don't fucking carry them out. As Taran licks a lolly.
That's not me.
Or Triton, I don't know. You all look alike to me. All you Americans look alike to me. But on that note, folks...
We're not Chinese.
Well, I think you'd be in a better position if you were. Let's talk, since Discord was brought up, folks, why don't we talk a little bit about what's going on with Discord, right? Because, we've covered one mega topic. We might as well cover another one. 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 25 seconds. If you haven't already, folks, like the stream, share the stream. Hopefully we can get the channel monetized soon so we can accept donations. So, the Ravencast community are big users of Discord, folks. So the idea of Discord changing its ID requirements shortly after announcing a new CEO who is of a specific people with noses that look like Lord Triton's beak. Triton, why don't you give us your perspective on these changes?
I feel like these changes are just useless because they're trying to basically make it to where you have to basically give your ID to verify and all that. It's like, why are we trying to control Discord that much to where the CEO
lazy and want to just roll it out for everyone so they don't have to make a separate version of the app for the countries that have it. Also, certain states are trying to push the ID laws too.
I feel like the whole ID law is just stupid and dumb. It's
ironically
useless.
It's red.
And not only that, it's also killing the Discord user base because there's a lot of people saying that they're going to leave Discord, which I know there's still going to be a few user base that do give their IDs out because there's a lot of dumbasses that do that. But there's still a lot of the core player base of Discord leaving because of this shit. And I feel like the change is kind of just unnecessary because, for one, the government already has our info, so why does a Jewish CEO need our info? And two, what are they going to do with the info is what we also need to know.
They're going to sell it to third parties. That should be obvious. In fact, that company they were using, they were saying they won't save your IDs, but that company Persona does save IDs. And they got caught red-handed for that recently.
And why are you going to trust them? Why are you going to trust them when they literally lied? They said that, we don't have access to IDs, and it comes out that they lied and do. So it's like, why are you going to trust a system that already lied to you?
They said they would be deleted.
But yet they're not deleted. Yeah. So it's like, why can you trust something? Why can you trust a company that's just lying to you to put in a safe system?
To top it off, they also have that data breach, which proves they keep user information.
And that's why it's like I don't support it, because they fucking lied about it, and they also are keeping user data.
Exactly. Do you know what coins can't be clipped, folks? Bottle caps. That's why caps are the currency in Fallout. Put them.
Yep.
My goodness, tough crowd, ladies and gentlemen, tough crowd. But when you look at, I've never been a fan of Discord. I've never been a fan of the concept, right? Because to me, Discord is like a gate-kept version of X or Twitter or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's like, let's have our own personal social media platforms. Well, sorry to say this, because, this channel and this community has one, but that's not open, that's not honest, and that's not transparent, right? We spent the past 90 minutes calling for openness, honesty, and transparency in the Epstein files. You look at Discord.
Oh, yeah.
They want you to be open, honest, and transparent about who
They
you
want
are,
to be
what
the
you
top
say, where you
They
go.
want to be the top chat platform too. That's the thing. They killed off a lot of social media. They killed off instant messaging. They killed off forums. They killed off internet relay chat. They killed off TeamSpeak, which is making a comeback now.
And Discord's going to be another forum that they're going to end up killing off.
Of course.
Oh no, Discord killed it off. That's the funny thing. So they're killing themselves right now, and all that stuff they killed off before is getting attention again.
Let me make this clear. The internet was a rogue element. Everything based on the internet was a rogue element. It was something created for a purpose that got out of hand. An open Pandora's box for the opposition that they are still trying to contain all these years later.
Yep. Internet relay chat's actually one of the safest ways to chat and stuff, because it's literally on the internet's back end. It's really old.
You try regulating the internet. It's very simple. Either everything is regulated or nothing is regulated. You can't do any half measures online. You can't.
No, we can't.
You want to enforce the law online? If you want the law offline to be the same as it is online, well, then we're all criminals. Do you know how many creators I can expose as being tax dodgers? Practically all of them. Now, it's not something you're supposed to cover, because a lot of early creators, guys, back when YouTube started its monetization system, a lot of creators didn't realize what to do with their funds because there was no precedent. So for years, creators were like, oh, YouTube get their 30%, I get my 70%, I keep all the money. For a literal generation of content creators, some of which you all know and love, broke the law for years. Have any of them been held accountable for it? No.
No, they haven't, because they'll never be held accountable, because we never had standards to begin with.
Right? And then the rules, came in later, but they weren't put in retroactively. But even though the current rules are in place, they're very easy to ignore, because we're led by dinosaurs who don't even know what a keyboard is. Never mind a computer.
Yep.
Most of the world's leaders, sorry, Tar, but most of the world's leaders are my father's age, right? They're 70 plus. My father doesn't know the first thing about a fucking computer. Never mind the internet or social media. It's a completely different dimension to him, completely different reality. The same applies to the old people in power. Now, it's going to be a problem when the younger generation get elected, who actually understand how it works. That's probably why all this chaos is happening. We are seeing a struggle between the 20th century mindset and the 21st century mindset. And the only reason it hasn't changed is because, sorry if there are any boomers watching, they haven't died off yet.
most people your age die. Why won't you?
But it's
Why
getting
won't
to a
you
point.
die, you boomers? Die!
Look, I don't want my father to die, but the point I'm trying to make is we've never lived in a situation like this before, where the old outnumber the young. Never lived like that. Ever.
You want to know why that is? It's because we've dropped birth rates due to all the trannies.
Well, it's not just that, Taran. We've had birth rate decline in the United States since the early 70s. In fact, a lot of problems can be traced to the early 70s. Economically, socially, politically. I mean, I'm sure we'd all turn back the clock 50-odd years, but the majority of America wouldn't. In fact, I dare say the majority of America wasn't here 50 years ago.
Yep.
And I think that's the point.
No, he wasn't. And that's the point, too. It's like they don't even know what it was like 50 years ago.
Right? The United States has been below replacement levels since 1971. Why haven't we seen massive population decline in 50 years? Oh, open borders. That's the problem it solves. That's why we have mass immigration. That's why we open the borders and let millions of foreigners in, because it solves the ultimate problem without making any kind of long-term sacrifice. And even then, it's not enough. So what are we going to do? I mean, it's very easy to say, send them back, stop the invasion, end the occupation. Let's say we do that, and I believe we all agreed that should happen. Now we have to deal with the ultimate problem, which is the population crisis. Now it sounds easy. It's like, oh, why don't we just let everyone fuck and have kids? It's not as simple as that.
Unfortunately, no. I mean, you can put all the blame on the women you want, but it's a joint effort here.
Yeah, and it's not just in the United States. It's not just in the Western world. It's in the entire civilized world. Whether you treat women like gods or like shit, it's the same problem everywhere. The only parts of the world that don't have this problem don't have civilized societies, and even their birth rates are declining, where in the very long term, they'll be below replacement rates. India just announced for the first time ever they are under replacement rate. Even India, half of that country is destitute. Even they are below replacement levels now. So I don't know what the solution to the problem is, but I can tell you this. There's a reason we have open borders, and it's not to replace us. Not principally, but that may be one of the reasons.
To invest in cloning.
Well, even that, Torren, right? Because generations of clones fade. They have fade regression. That's why you can't just keep cloning the same people.
I didn't mean just clone the same people over and over again.
Yeah, that causes fade rejection. And the lifespan gets shorter with each generation. That's why we didn't go into it. But the point is, when you look at Discord and the changes they're making, when you're looking at the codification of society, it's all leading to one logical outcome: the Borgification of humanity, because it's the only way we'll survive long term, turning us all into cybernetic Borg, to use a Star Trek reference. Now, do we want that? No, of course not. What's the alternative? The annihilation of the human race, not through war or hunger or destitution, but because of the fact that we are not having sustainable population to replace us. The population has gone way up in the past 200 years. It may take a few hundred years, but by the end of the century, we'll reach a peak. And then in 2 centuries, we'll go from 10 billion back to 1 billion. And we won't be able to reverse it. Even if we have economic incentives, social incentives, even if we execute anyone who doesn't have a child every year, it won't be enough. So how do we solve the problem? Desperate times call for desperate measures. Sometimes you just got to say, fuck it, let's start again. And that's why the opposition keep talking about a great reset, because they've come to that conclusion based off of all the examples I've just given you. Because they're not stupid people, right? You don't ascend to the top by being a stupid person. You ascend to a top by being a compromised person, but compromised people aren't necessarily stupid. They're just fighting for themselves and only for themselves. That's why you see the New World Order. That's why
You
you
still
see
have to
the Great
be
Reset.
you still have to be smart. You have to be used to the establishment and have intelligence that the establishment can use from you.
Yeah, but for all the brilliance of the people in power, they still haven't solved the ultimate problem, the population problem, which in itself is a two-faced problem. Are we talking about too many people or too few people? Everyone says, oh, there are too many people on the planet. No, there's too few people. Not enough people are being born. The opposition know that. That's why they open the borders, so they can bring in people who have more kids, so they can have more kids to keep the population up, only to realize within a few generations those immigrants stop having children, so they have to keep the borders open. It explains everything.
Mm-hmm.
It explains why we are going through all of this. That's why they see us as the ultimate threat. Because if we stop the invasion, if we end the occupation, if we have mass deportations, population's going to nosedive. Because if we then go back to the point where we don't have all these foreigners and we just live as we've always lived, our population will collapse and none of our people will be around. It's hard to argue with that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason for everything, folks. And I've just given you a few examples.
All right, I have to go.
All right. Well, we're about to end the show anyways, unless Digny has any more topics to cover.
Best of luck to you, Discord. I hope you go the way of MySpace. Taran, I know you're going to go and pleasure your VD girlfriends. Hopefully you have a good job doing that without getting AIDS or whatever the
Actually, no,
equivalent
I
is.
have to go help my mom with something related to one of my cats.
Good. Nice to know you're a cat person. Righty then. Well, before we go into future plans, and Taran, please exit at your convenience. Taran, why don't you answer Wee's question?
Triton Ray and Triton Ray Anna Polana Luna. I don't even know who that is.
Well, why don't you type her up and find out?
All right.
She is a hot.
As I said, Taran, you may exit at your earliest convenience. Alrighty then. Well, it's good to see that people have been. And why don't you share your screen so we can have a visual example before?
Hold on, I will once I will once I search her up. I just gotta get the right spelling.
We appreciate everyone for being here today. My goodness. I'm trying my best not to sneeze, so I have to mute my microphone. So
hold on. I'm gonna share my screen just so people could see it. I give her probably like a 7 out of 10.
Good. We need more 7 out of 10s to be bred.
Would you breed? Would you? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would smash. Definitely smash. Definitely give her the nice little Triton. What about you, Jim? Would you smash?
Hell yeah.
I think all European peoples should smash each other, folks.
All right.
Just like I think all Africans should smash each other and all Orientals, right? Nothing is more dangerous than mixing and matching, okay? But on that note, thank you for watching Triton's dating show. Let's move to future plans. 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 10 seconds as my pen begins to die. Future plans, we'll start off with Triton. What's coming up for you?
So what's coming up for me is just, normal like Ravencast episodes, us continuing to cover the Epstein file brigade and everyone's making up slander about Thomas Massie and campaigning for James Fishback, stuff like that. It's basically the same old thing, just keeping it, calling out the truth, calling out transparency, and criticizing, whenever the government and the Trump administration fucks up, and watching the Trump administration slowly burn the country down. What about you, Digny? What's your future plans?
No, we should ask Booty Warrior.
Oh yeah, Booty Warrior. Booty Warrior, what's your future plans?
Having some booty. Getting some booty. No, but seriously, I'm probably gonna call the check later.
Booty Warrior.
And me, I'm sorry.
Are you a robot?
I'm
Booty
gonna
Warrior.
I heard what he said though.
No.
He said he's gonna get some more booty and he's gonna hop in the chat later.
Yeah.
Anyways, how about you, Digny? What's your future plans?
Make more videos, help more shows, make more videos from helping more shows.
Do you want me
It's
to
very,
will I be hopping on Monday's show tomorrow so I can pre-plan it, make sure I can make it?
Oh, sure. I'm sure there will be a space for you, Triton, and I'm sure we'll have a good talk as always. We always appreciate having you on the show. And look, man, what I do with the network, it's self-sustaining at this point. It practically runs itself. I just need to keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't run itself off the edge, and I'm very grateful for everyone's support. Yes, this is a underrated show, but hey, we appreciate everyone who checks out our network shows. So thank you very much for watching.
All right, I think that's going to be the end of that. So I'm going to go ahead and play the outro song, and then we'll see y'all later on. I'll probably be live again tomorrow night. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Subscribe to Digny's channel, Dignified Cartoon Gentleman, because he will be clipping up and making network videos like usual.
Yep.
And we will see you guys here tomorrow. Here later
Bye.
on. Goodbye, everybody. Hold on. Let me
Bye.
make sure. All right, there's the song. All right, pulling up the song right now.
And remember, folks, Allahu Akbar.
Oh, there we go. Now it's pulling up.
What if we?
All right, everybody, make sure y'all hit the like button. Outro song is playing, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Silva, what the heck is this?
Pull up, hop out, you don't want to step in the house. You know we the gang, cause we got clout. Don't step to the crew, you get knocked out. You get this blade work, yeah. You get this blade work, yeah. You get this blade work, yeah. You get this blade work, yeah.
Back from the dead, and I'm honored to fight like a noble phantasm that hunts you at night. You don't want to try me, a demigod. I might keep your head on tight when I got the fight. Because back in my day, warriors were brave. All these masters, one here's a boring slave. I spearhead this war, you sit back and wait. Throw a javelin, see what archer's afraid. This Celtic warrior is taking shots. Don't get attached, cause I'll break your heart. I'm guaranteed to die, now don't make me start. I'd rather stab myself than let you slay my part. See, I fight to win, you know it's in my nature. When I move too fast for you, lens of haters. Use a different shaft to hunt women later. You be screwed with just a tip, ass saber.
Shot through the sky is the angel, the score on the the noni new devil with swords for his horns. He shot that up, Papa smash like the acoustic. My blades in your eyes and you'll see what's in store. The world on my back, there's no bond, I won't break any step that you're taking. It's a major mistake. Mark a god between his eyes and bring heart to the floor. She'll answer that he'll be a pile of gold. Silence as a shadow when I steal your girl. Make a sword and arrow as I see it twirl. Call me lucky liar as a plot unfurl. Bow to your lord cause you're just an earl. Went from a boy to a hero. Gave up on the parts that are Shiro. Shut up to the villains, it's zero. This is the result of your fate, zero.
Pull up, hop out. You don't wanna step into our house. You know we the gang cause we got clout. Don't step to the crew, you get knocked out. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death.
Bow to the king of the night, swinging to win it, that will is my pride. Stand in the way, be set up in my stride. Don't need no round table, divide you like pie, yeah. Try me once in the future, Pendragon back in the prophetic room. A servant or not, I'm from Rock, I'm the ruler. Heroic spirit, not one you should jewel, yeah.
Yeah, it's the king of heroes, and they want me to prove it. Barely trying, yet I'm still never losing. Half a god, I'm also half a human. Exponential power, I don't know what to do with. They measure the skill, yeah, I have it. I'll get in their head till they end up just backing. I'll take any weapon I got in my catalog when I open up the gates into Babylon.
God is victory, shooting winds I provide. Open that'll stay, to glory I'll guide my basundere. But boy, my beauty can't hide, it's all a part of me. The power inside.
Watch me rock Arrogance, tear it up with my chariot and my warriors, bringing order with Gordy against the will, the skill to kill. I'm just warming up, yeah, so fast when I jump cast, ain't nuts when I act with the phantasm. I'm a king, living with the pride of heart. Just remember the name of Miss Kendall.
Pull up, hop out. You don't wanna step into our house. You know we the gang cause we got clout. Don't step to the crew, you get knocked out.
You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death.
It's Astolfo on the mic tonight. French honey that'll make you wanna stay the night. Got a sword that'll be your kryptonite. 12 hits and you'll be out, that's right. I'm the last night of the king that is struggle mate. I'll only right where you think you got goals to get. Fight for my life in the world that I know your name. Got a secret that'll go and shock your brain.
Hey, what's your fade? With the second, you going great. Stick 'em up, hit 'em up, she going lonely. She pulling through for the way. I do the same for my riders. Hey. School you on cue, no advisor. Hey. You should have jumped in and wiser. Hey. Two on me, now it's goodbye, sir.
Nom, Jean d'Arc, m'envoie son debt, je crois leaving my mark. I was called by the Lord, come forth and stand apart. I am a ruler, righteous in my heart, I'm so holy. Scripture by men does not own me. I was called on to act only in humility, honesty, purity, faith, you shall know me.
Get wet, tall bastard with the big lid. All action, it's called passion. You call that, you get extended. What? Air rank in the fame's global, the name's known to bring dread. Hydra, I'm full of peace, I'm a priest, not a Greek, taking name of your head. Yeah!
Pull up, hop out. You don't wanna step into our house. You know we the gang cause we got clout. Don't step to the crew, you get knocked out.
You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death.
Pull up, hop out. You don't wanna step into our house. You know we the gang cause we got clout. Don't step to the crew, you get knocked out.
You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death. You get this blade, we're death.
All right, peace, y'all.